Hi everybody, how are you today? I thought I would do an impromptu, unedited video, and I thought you might enjoy seeing what a wreck my desk is. If you peel back the layers, you'll see, oh, she did that for Father's Day, or it's all just here on top of each other. And I'm going to stick this water here, and I'm going to stamp these Tim Holtz Crazy Birds with some Simon Says Stamp black ink. I like to use this for watercolor. I was going to do some no line coloring, but I decided I'm in the mood for my black lines. Bring back the black. Okay, so I'm gonna, now my magnet is buried underneath this, all this shit. So I'm gonna hold this down. Hopefully this little masking thing, hopefully, let's hope it held the paper down in the right place. Okay. Let us cross our fingers. Whew, it worked. Okay. So the idea of today is making quick cards. And in order to make a quick card, you need, I'm just brushing this on the floor for later. Okay, so for quick cards, you need to color less. So I've cut one of Simon Says Stamped stitched circles here, and we only need to watercolor part of the faces because we're coloring less, it'll be quicker. So, I could, draw where to stop, but, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. And it's really not that much less, but with other images that you might use, it could be a lot less. So I'm just going to grab my Distress watercolor markers and Zig. They're all over my counter here, so, and then some of them are in this can. So I'm going to grab my glasses, put my phone on silent, and see how fast I can do this. Okay. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of water. Let's use some Distress markers. I always love to give a little pink belly. You're not going to see much of this belly. I don't use the Distress markers that much. I wonder if that blends. Yes. Okay. I feel like I'm breathing heavy. It's probably because my allergies. I don't know. I'm in a weird mood today. I just feel like I haven't had time to dedicate to do what I want to do. So let's see. That's not dark enough. Don't like that. And don't forget what I always say, watercoloring is so forgiving. So I'm just going to blend that out. I like bluebirds. Let's do some blue here. You can always add more detail later. Let's do that little, let's add a little bit of turquoise up here. Kind of this little stomping method that I like to use. And then just blend that out a little bit. Now, of course, I'm laying my markers all over my window. Need to be more careful. So we're just seeing a little bit of that. Now I want to bring up, I think I love rosy cheeks. So I want to make sure I get some of that in there. I do have another video where I've colored these with Copic markers. So hopefully you'll check that out. I'm just going to draw some eyelids on here. And some of this area. Now see, I always say go back and add a little bit of color in those crevices. See, like right here in the corners of the eyelids. And I did up here too. Just adding that little teeny tiny bit of color makes such a difference. Let's see if some of that will blend in there. All right, that's good enough for him. I mean, that was pretty quick, right? And then what colors do we want to do him? We don't really even need to rinse our brush much, just get it a little wet. I'm kind of staying away from the nose and the eyes. I don't want it to blend in there. So we've got some, how about, I don't know, I'm thinking red. Let's do purple. Always start with a dark color, or that seems to work for me anyway, because you can always blend it out. I'm going to add some bright pink here. And then I like the blue too. And let's just add some water and see how this goes. I can't believe the 30-day coloring challenge is almost over. Part of it's stressing me out. I'm going to miss it. I always miss it, but then, to be honest, the posting part I don't miss because it just takes me so long. I don't talk normal and I have to fix my grammar and all that. So anyway, let's add some more lavender. And maybe I'll add a little bit of brown too. I always like to give pink or orange bellies, but you're not going to see his belly. So I'm just blending that. Okay, and here's a little bit of brown. That's too light. Maybe some gray that was nearby. Gray and purple looks good together. A little more bird color. And you can see that I'm not spending a lot of time picking out colors. Because like I always say, here's some distress. That watercoloring is so forgiving. Probably tired of hearing me say that. Alright, so let's just check the window. So they're bright and fun. Let's go with that. Now see, I always say that right in those corners you want to add, since it's watered down, I'm going to add some purple in that corner instead. You want to add some intense color in those little crevices. I'm going to add a little bit there. And just let's add a little here and then a little water, and then let's put some orange on his beak. I guess she's going to be a she. So I'm barely going to blend out those little purples. Let's work on the beak. Let's add a little brown to that. Whoop, that's really dark. Alright, let's see how forgiving this really is. Let's blot some of that off. Quick, quick. Always have something on hand. I have the watercolors literally sitting in my lap. Okay. Good enough for me. So let's use the zig here and draw some blue eyeshadow. Let's make it a little more intense in the corners. That's not that intense. There it is. And then we'll blend that out. This is not the best brush, but that's okay. You know, I went away and I packed some supplies, so that's the problem with packing. Then you don't unpack, then you can't find what you need. Alright, so that's not bad. Let's see. There we go. Okay, that's pretty good for me. So that was quick. Now I'm going to take a black marker when that dries and draw that eyelid on. Let's do a little bit with the background. I'm going to need a thicker brush. Oh, my ink lid is on. I'm just a mess. A nice flat brush like this is great for backgrounds. I'm going to do this because this is close by, and I'll just bring this color down because the window hides that part. So I'll just use this as my palette since I'm using the stamp pad from Simon Says Stamp. And maybe we'll just have a loomy sky coming from the corner. You know, like they're confused, conflicted by the storm that's coming up. And I'm kind of staying away from I don't want the water to blend into the bird colors. I should have dried those with the heat gun. But this is supposed to be quick. So a little more water here, and then I'll use the heat gun if it's plugged in. But I love the stamping pad from Simon Says Stamp. It's so useful. It's so white and it's bright. I just love white. That's the only problem with the craft mat. Alright, so I can see that I need to bring some of the color down here. So I'm going to do the same thing. Whoops, wrong end. Because you don't see that. So that'll become my palette. I'm going to use a smaller brush. And you know, you don't even need to do like a foreground or anything because you don't see that. So that's the nice thing. And this, there's also, God, it's hard for me to paint and talk. I apologize. Oh, there's sentiments that match these birdies now. It's so exciting. You know, like the writing. Okay, so that's finished. That was quick. So I'm going to go over some of my lines, draw in those eyelids, stamp a sentiment, and then I have a window card. And that was quick because I'm cutting it off. I don't have to worry about how that looks. And I'll just clean up on part of that. And that's it. I hope you like it. Thank you for watching, and I hope your mess is as big as mine. And don't hold this mess against me. So, see you back at the Daily Marker. I'll list the supplies. And I guess that's it. Thank you for taking the 30-day coloring challenge. Okie doke. Bye.